Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. My name is Jack and today is another LEGO Weekly News update. The first thing I want to talk about is the official announcement and images released for the Technic Porsche 911 Gt3 Rs. I believe it was first announced on the brickfan.com, and we got a series of really nice high production photos. The Porsche comes in a nice bright orange, and it comes in a very unique kind of box. LEGO also released one of their designer videos for the Porsche 911, and I wouldn't call myself a car buff by any stretch, but when you see just how much care, effort, and detail was put into the actual creation of this set, I think this Technic Porsche might be one of the best sets of the year. I'm not going to get into all the technical things that they went through in the video. If you want to learn more about the Technic Porsche, I'll leave a link in the video description for you, and as always I will leave links for everything that we talk about in the video description below. This week there were a lot of new official images released for Ninjago, Architecture, and Eleves themes, but before we get to that I want to talk about the promo calendar for June. I think the biggest promotion for the month is that between June 1st and 15th, you can get a LEGO Creator Fountain set with a purchase of $75 or more. As usual, there will be a LEGO VIP member early access to an exclusive set from the 15th to the 30th, and there are a few other dates for card collecting, minifigure swaps, and a few days in the month for racing or building vehicles to get a free Technic poster. Now moving on to the official images for the summer, let's check out the Ninjago theme first. And I think I'm just going to go set by set here, so the first one is Rock Rotor 70589, and the main build for this set is a dune buggy it looks like, and I believe this vehicle is going to have some shocks and it's probably going to be pretty good for riding around. The next set is Cryptarium Prison Breakout 70591. It seems like a super basic build for the prison, but you might get some cool minifigs. This next one I'm really looking forward to, it's Salvage Mech 70592. The build for this mech has a pretty nice stylization, especially for LEGO, and even though it's got a Salvage Mech, it definitely reminds me of something like a fencer. Here's the green NRG Dragon 70593, and what Ninjago seasonal wave would not be complete if they didn't have a dragon set? This dragon looks like a pretty decent build. It seems to have two tails, and I like that scaly printing for the cloth on the wings. This set though is hands down my favorite of the new Ninjagos. It's called Ultra Stealth Raider 70595, and it reminds me somewhat of Clay's Rumble Blade, with the main vehicle being able to split apart into several smaller ones. But this one looks a little bit more solid and has a much cooler design. I'm a big fan of that giant wheel in the back. It also has a ton of cool minifigs too, so this is probably going to be a very big set for the summer. Alright, moving on with official images, there were only two new sets for the architecture theme, but they both look really good. This first one here is Buckingham Palace, set number 21029, and frankly I'm surprised there hasn't been an architecture set for this earlier. I really like the look of the build for this palace, and it's a great little touch that they added the double-decker bus, and I think that's a black taxi. Moving over to the States, we've got the US Capitol building, set number 21030, and not that I'm biased or anything, but I think this build does look better than the Buckingham Palace. I just really like the look of all those columns, and it's great how they varied the shape of the columns by using those little telescope pieces. And moving on, I might as well knock out all of the official images that were released this week, so let's check out the Eleves theme. Here is the Precious Crystal Mine, set number 41177. It seems pretty simple and as usual very colorful, and I can see this one has a slide. The next set is the Dragon Sanctuary, set number 41178. We've got a pink dragon with two sets of wings, and a little structure here with actually a pretty nice build for a waterfall. The next one here is Queen Dragon's Rescue, set number 41179. This one comes with the white, blue, and gold Queen Dragon, and what looks like a build for where the Queen Dragon was being held captive. And it might just be me, but I think the dragons from the Eleves sets look better than the ones from the Ninjago ones. The bodies just look more solid, and I think the heads look better too. Anyways, the last of the new official images is this Eleves set here. This is Regattas Magic Shadow Castle, set number 41180. The build for the castle here I think looks pretty good in its purple and green, and I believe this is the largest of the Eleves set for this new wave. Okay, let's move on to our LEGO Ideas segment now. If you are unfamiliar with what LEGO Ideas is, it's a website where you can submit your LEGO creation in hopes of having it become an official LEGO set. If you get 10,000 votes on this set, then it goes to the official review stage, and this week there was one set that made it there, and that set was Jonny 5 by Peppa Quinn. This is a beloved robotic character from the 1986 film Short Circuit.
Disassemble! Dead!
Hey, slow down!
No, disassemble! Please, escape!
Oh my god.
Anyways, there's enough LEGO fans that liked this movie and this subsequently awesome build here, and we'll see how well this set does in the review process. Either way, he does totally look like Wally's older brother. And moving on to our first and only bit of LEGO Star Wars news this week, the Freemaker Adventures TV series is going to premiere June 20th, and there is now a video that goes kind of behind the scenes for it. The video has brief interviews with the voice actors that play the main characters in the show, and they describe the personality of the characters that they're going to be playing. Still, the main thing I'm excited for in this show is that eventually we get a LEGO built Dianaga figure like we see in the trailer. Also, from an article I saw on the brickset.com, there is now a first look at a new Supergirl minifig, and she is exclusive to the Supergirl Dimensions pack. We don't know when this pack is going to come out, but according to the brickset.com, the Dimensions base for this minifigure is not going to be blue like they usually are, but instead it's going to be gold. So who knows what that means? All I know, it's going to be an exclusive Supergirl minifig, so you can bet this is going to be one of the Dimensions packs that we end up picking up here at BrickVault. And the last bit of news before we move on to custom creations, which I actually think is pretty important, is that the ownership of LEGO is actually changing from father to son. This has always been a family-owned company, and Kjeld Kirk Christensen handing down the ownership rights to Thomas Kirk Christensen marks the 4th generational exchange of ownership for the LEGO group. This switchover has been in the works for quite a while, and I trust LEGO will continue to be run very smoothly. Now, my favorite part of the episode, this is where I get to talk about any of the cool custom creations that I happen to see throughout the week. This first build here is called Collapse by Chris Madison, and the image you're looking at right now is not fake. Those blocks were not thrown in the air. This is simply a very clever and extremely technical build. It of course is supposed to be appreciated best from one perspective, but when you look at it from behind, you can see how he did it. This is another Moko build, and it's called Phantom, and this is one of the best robots I've seen built from mostly bionicle parts. The robot just has a very dynamic look to it, and it seems incredibly stable and strong. As you can see, it is highly posable, and it just looks a bit more battle ready than other LEGO mechs that I've seen lately. Here's a build that's been making waves. This is Indonesian Chinatown by KOSbrick, though I believe there are other builders involved as well. This is a modular building, in fact, and each individual structure here is built incredibly well. This one on the corner is the tea house, and I really like the open deck on the second floor, as well as all the detailing for the doors and windows. The second building in line is called the Medical Clinic and Pharmacy House, and I think that first floor at the bottom is the pharmacy where they keep all the medical herbs in the drawers. And the last modular building at the end here is just supposed to be a regular residence. It's kind of hard to point out all the particular things you like about a build when everything is just done so well, but before I change the build, let me show some of the vehicles and other characters that they made for this modular building. Here is the Buhar Walker by Charis Stella. This build definitely has a steampunk vibe to it, but certainly a different twist. The shape of this insect-like vehicle looks incredibly dynamic, and I particularly like the build for the legs. Here's a nice little build called Agile Hawk 2.0 by Sylon-tw. Flyers and ships are this builder's specialty, I think. This builder creates tons of awesome flyers and ships, and I really like the little style for this one. The cockpit and intakes on the sides seem much too big for the rest of the body of the ship, but the build kind of slides back very cleverly into a small tail with big rudders. I also really like they added just a little bit of Technic for the wings. This is a 1956 Nash Metropolitan 1 by Caleb Flatour. This build really comes out with some nice shapes for the car. I especially like the curves on the hood and that entire grille in the front, but when you take a look at the back, you can see there's just as much attention given there. And what I really like here is that the builder showed off their first attempt, and I think you can see the improvements pretty easily. And right, this is kind of a 2-for-1 with Caleb Flatour. Here is his Pick-a-Brick blender. Never seen a Pick-a-Brick cup in a custom build before, but this here is a pretty darn ingenious use. And here is a really awesome custom build, easily my favorite one of the week. This one's called Moon Cheese Miners by Galactic. The build is very well thought out, all the mechanical elements are designed very smartly, and the concept is just ridiculously awesome. This is what maybe a future dystopia might look like in the universe of Wallace and Gromit.
Everybody knows the moon's made of cheese.
But really, these builds do hold their own individually. The crane looks awesome with a cockpit that can be adjusted up and down, and a cool build for the treads on those wheels. And naturally, if you have big cheese, you're gonna have big rats. And based on those 3 eyes, I'd say big mutated rats. I really like the build that shows the bit of cheese land and our couple of miners there, but I think my favorite aspect of the build is the cheese carrier. It's an awesome looking design with a great color combo, and of course perfectly structured for holding gigantic slices of Swiss. And this last build here is an incredible feat. This is a life-size version of Unikitty. It's made of roughly 30,000 Lego parts, and it even has some cool mechanical functions. The head rotates back and forth, but the best part are the sparkly eyes that you can put in the center. The builder is Christoph Bartneck, and I think he officially has the largest Lego Unikitty. Alright, so that's it for this episode. Tune in same time next week for another LEGO Weekly News update, and if you enjoy our content, feel free to subscribe. We'll see you next time at BrickVault.